Hey everybody, Stu Smith here, going live on YouTube and two Facebook pages. Um, Thanks for checking in on us. We are going to be taking questions and discussing um, some techniques on swimming as I share some videos from this week. Both of them have to do with swimming with fins and breathing. Um, so there's a couple of good ones there. This week, we are getting after it. Already hit, let me see, I'm already at almost 10 miles in 2 days. So not quite, about 8 miles. I cut it back a little bit. So we're running more and we are doing more calisthenics. A lot of legs today and a lot of upper body calisthenics yesterday. So we are in that spring mode of calisthenics and cardio. And it's fun. Like I said, I grew up a powerlifting football player and sucked at all of this at a time, and now I've actually, gotten pretty good at it and enjoy all of it now. So I enjoy my lift cycles. I enjoy my calisthenics and cardio cycles. I enjoy swimming and running and rucking even. Um, I think it's a journey. You got to try to get good at everything. You got to keep doing everything. Um, So I wrote some articles this week. You guys can check them out at stewsmithfitness.com. Uh, my latest one is talking about my mobility day, which I will do tomorrow. And excited for it actually, because it's a day I don't run, but I work on all kinds of other things. One, yes, taking a rest from the impact of running, but two, um, also um, working on recovery, sore muscles, achy joints, um, flexibility, mobility. It's just good stuff. So, how many miles do you recommend when running recovery runs? You know what? I'd be honest with you. I rarely do long recovery runs. It may be a mile slow down. I'll mix in some lunges in there just to kind of really help stretch it out. But my best recovery now comes from um, biking or swimming. So I'll do a recovery cardio cool down um, of some other form. Um, my last mile will probably be easy with some stretching mixed in there. Uh, but, to top it off really for me to fully recover, I usually bike or swim, sometimes elliptical. Um, let's see. Some of my other articles I wrote this week, or I had a yeah, since last week. Um, see when we last talked, the third. So we spoke on the third, and yeah, so I wrote another one, getting through the training. Wrote that on the second. So I guess I've only done one article since then. Written a couple for military.com. Um, But yeah, so whatever you call it, that tomorrow is my mobility day, but it's an easy day, it's a recovery day, it's a technique day. You call it what you want. We are focusing on technique of drown proofing and um, treading water. We also focus on stretching and full range of motion movements, just getting loose and feeling good. And by the time you're done with that, I promise you it'll be life changing, especially if you're an older guy and you've neglected your mobility over the years. Works really well. Taking some more questions here. So let's see what we got. Just went into depth program. First PST is tomorrow. Just wanted to say thank you for your content. Yeah, go crush it. Obviously you've taken several PSTs on your own. This is not your first attempt at it. Um, I always recommend people who decide to join is to be crushing the PST as much as possible, right? Just absolutely crush it. So when you take it your first time, you're pretty much done taking it and you're a solid candidate. Um, how many times a week do they rucksack march in regular army? You know, that's a good question. I'm not exactly sure. I doubt it's even per week. Um, it might be once a week. It might be once every other week. I can't really answer that, to be honest with you. I guess it depends on the unit primarily. It's a bad idea to try and condition yourself to train with little to no sleep to prepare for something like Hell Week. No, I don't recommend it. I don't think it is a good idea to do that. I don't think you need to. There's nothing to prepare for. I mean, they're going to keep you awake by making you do stuff every minute of the day. Your adrenaline's going to keep you awake. You'll probably have a harder time just trying to stay awake because you can't make yourself do enough to stay awake. So I don't think it's necessary. I mean, I probably pulled a couple all-nighters in my life. One was studying, and I never do that again because that was an awful realization that that doesn't work. Um, and the other one was probably spring break in Daytona Beach. I was not studying for that. So that was back when I was 19 and stupid. Let's see. Can you describe how recovery time sessions should increase with age? Good question. I right now I only do them once a week. And when I came up with this, I was probably in my early 40s. And I was thinking, a logical progression would be maybe make this twice a week event when I turn 50, make it 3 times a week when I turn 60. So I had a logical progression in my head on how that could work. And in theory, sounds good. So I'm going to say, in theory, that's how I would do it. However, I'm now 53 and I still only do one of those a week. Don't feel like I need two yet, but I have done two a few times in the last couple of months just because I was fighting a cold or something, didn't feel 100%. So I did a mobility day instead of skipping a workout. And that's a good place for it, regardless of your age. But I will probably say maybe it's in my later 50s where I had that second one. Um, but great question. Now that was my day. Now you're talking about recovery time per sessions, um, like in between exercises. That's going to depend on every individual, really. Some people need to rest a little longer in between sets. It also depends on what kind of activity you're doing. If you're going heavy weights, you might want to rest a little longer, to rebuild and come back. If you're doing more circuit stuff where you're not really caring about rest and you just want to get as much done in a short period of time, that can kind of limit rest. So it kind of depends more so on what you're doing versus your age, if that makes sense. Great question. Let's see. Hey, I'm a power lifter. Want to join the Navy as an officer. Hey, man, sounds familiar. Just almost 35 years ago. Talked to a recruiter and told me I need to lose weight and change the way I work out. How would you recommend to train? He's not wrong. I will say, yeah, you need a foundation of strength. And, as a power lifter, you will be plenty strong compared to everybody in your platoons or teams or whatever. you'll always have that foundation of strength with you, even if you decide to not lift for months. I literally, showed up at the Naval Academy and failed my first fitness test because I thought I was in football shape and I played three sports in high school and I could crush this fitness test. I mean, I could run a 6-minute mile. I could do push ups and pull ups and sit ups, but I just didn't know how to do it very well because I didn't take the test enough and I actually failed sit ups. Next week, I actually passed sit ups. I learned a pacing technique that helped me maintain my pace, but that's a different story. But I will tell you, I quit lifting heavy for a while as I made that transition into the military, and it made a big difference to the point of where I was able to take it to a level of maxing the regular Navy test and then saying, you know what, I think I can move a little further and go into this Marine Corps spec war type level fitness and challenge myself in that way. Really enjoyed that transition coming out of a powerlifting football world into really turning myself into a cardio machine. And basically, what I did is I did triathlon training, didn't do any triathlons, just did triathlon training where 2/3 of my cardio was non impact and a third was running. And that was a nice progression. So I didn't run too much and get hurt. Um, and I was running and or swimming and biking. Swimming was needed for spec war stuff. But yes, uh, you're going to have to turn more into an endurance athlete. And then as far as resistance training, all I did was calisthenics. I didn't do any weight training. I will say, every other week or so, I'd go into the gym and do some auxiliary stuff, like overhead presses and maybe some curls and tricep work and maybe some deadlifts, kettlebell stuff, but nothing too. Actually, they didn't have kettlebells back then, so it was more dumbbell stuff, um, lunges with a little extra weight. Um, then I wound up just using sandbags and backpacks because we didn't even have weight vests back then. But yeah, you can do a whole lot more if you wanted to add some weight without using weights, if that makes sense. But yeah, treat yourself like a triathlete where 2/3 of your cardio is non impact. Your knees and joints will thank you for that. And then start doing some calisthenics and cardio combos. In fact, um, I'm going to put in 3 favorite workouts to help you crush fitness tests. And remember, this also depends on what you're wanting to do in the Navy as an officer. If you want to go regular Navy, your fitness level probably don't need to worry about your fitness level too much. But if you're trying to go, um, pilot, diver, EOD, SEAL, any of those jobs, um, you're going to have to get a lot more time in the water, but also get a little more fit too because their calisthenics standards are a little tougher. But anyway, I just put an article in the comment section that's my 3 favorite workouts that I like to do, spread throughout a week. Um, and that's a good way to do that. So let me see if there's any other questions. Okay, so no new questions right now. I'm going to shift gears and go into CSS critique here. So this is a good one. I think you'll like this one. This is a really good combat swimmer stroke with scuba fins on. And I went in close just to explain the breathing a little more. I posted this one on TikTok as well. But as you can see, like while he's in that glide position, you can see bubbles coming out. He is exhaling during this underwater glide kicking phase. And then when he pulls that top arm, that's where all the air finally comes out. And then he inhales during the bottom arm. So one more time. See, he's exhaling a little bit here, fully exhales, inhales. Boom. So exhale a little bit while you're kicking, top arm, inhale, bottom arm. Nice. So there's really no difference with fins or without fins. The only difference is you're just not kicking at this point, you're just gliding, right? So imagine combat swimmer stroke, kick, you're holding the glide for this, starting to exhale a little bit. When that top arm goes, you fully exhale and then inhale, boom. That's how you do it. So this is a really good CSS. I'll let you watch this for a little bit. Usually get a couple dolphin kicks off the wall. Top arm, bottom arm, kick and glide. Except for there's not much glide in this job because you got a pair of fins on that's going to propel you through currents. So really, without fins, you can hold the glide. With fins, it's more about power. So you can get through currents and tides. So you want to be constantly kicking versus relying on a glide. And that's just a constant flutter kick. And then whenever you need to breathe, you just move your arms. So you kick, kick, kick here. You're exhaling during the kick. You need to breathe. Top arm, bottom arm. Boom. That's a good one. You guys got any questions about that one? Let me know. Oh, EOD or SEAL is your goal? Then yeah, you definitely need to be a endurance animal. And crush that PST. As you can see, the PST is a 500-yard swim, push-ups, sit-ups, pull-ups, and a mile-and-a-half run. There's no weights in there. If you're lifting weights, you're not preparing for the PST. You're already strong enough. Let's crush the PST, and then you'll be a more competitive officer candidate. And then you go through SOAS, which is SEAL Officer Assessment and Selection, which is a 2-week deal in Coronado. And you will be able to determine, one, what your weaknesses are if you get selected, or two, you won't get selected and you'll have to pick something else. So you'll know before you actually join the Navy if you're able to become a SEAL. If your recruiter hasn't told you that yet, you need to get on them, because there is definitely a process to becoming a Navy SEAL officer out of OCS. In fact, I am putting this link in here. For some reason it's not coming up very well. Oh, there it is. Okay. Navy SEAL PST Clinic. I want to put this in here for you. Check this out. Down Dirty 97. Navy SEAL PST Clinic. Check that out. That'll help you with some techniques to crush crush the PST. All right, next question. How did you not quit buds? Was it just one of those things you were kind of accepted it and pushed forward? There's a lot of reasons why. I mean, first of all, you have been preparing for years for this opportunity, and it was there. So you took it. And you just really didn't think about quitting. It wasn't even an option. We had so many people that went before us. Like I said, I went to the academy. So, the guy, when I was a freshman and sophomore, the guys that were juniors and seniors, we saw them, what they did to prepare, they make it through. And it was just, the impossibility factor was gone, right? It wasn't an impossible thing to do. So it was just something to do that was hard, and you had to put in a lot of hard work, hardest I've ever worked in my life for sure. But it wasn't even a conscious thought. All right. How do you recommend running if you have stress fractures? I don't. But you can still run or just do non-impact cardio. Yeah, if you want those stress fractures to heal, you should not be running, period, and do all the non-impact cardio that you can do. Yeah, they're not going to heal. The impact of you running is not going to heal those stress fractures. In fact, they'll probably even get worse. So just, yeah, be smart with that. I keep mixing breaststroke and scissor kick together. How do I stop that and just do the scissor kick? Most people, the reason why they do this is because they're on their side. They start with a scissor kick, but then they roll over in the middle of the kick and it turns into a breaststroke kick. So you actually start kicking like this, but then it turns into something like this. I've shown a lot of videos of people screwing that up, and you can see it on my TikTok page. In fact, if you go to TikTok Stu Smith 50, that is my TikTok page. Nothing but CSS critiques. So it is a one-stop shop for CSS critiques. If you're screwing that up, you will find probably a dozen videos of me discussing the reason why this kick is not effective is because that person is um, turning in the middle of the kick. Because what a lot of people will do is they'll kick on their side, right? Kick on their side, and then in the middle of this kick, they'll roll over on their belly. So now their kick goes like this, makes kind of a breaststroke kick. Another way to fix that is if you notice the guy swimming with fins, you can only do scissor kick or flutter kick. Yeah, I mean, you can do some dolphin kick too, but you can't do anything that resembles a breaststroke kick with a pair of fins on. So practice the CSS with fins and it will fix your kick without fins. Good question. Okay, with rucking, do you recommend a power walk style approach or a shuffle approach? Trying for 15-minute miles on long rucks. Okay, I have 3 paces when I ruck. In fact, I wrote an article called What is a Ruck? Stu Smith. And in that article, I talk about 3 different paces. Um, and the 3 paces are this. I'll put it in the comment section. The 3 paces are this. One, it's just a walk. Like you can put your cell phone to your ear, talk, and just walk. And you'll probably not hit 15-minute mile. Probably be like 16, 17-minute mile doing that. Then there's the power walk. Usually, if you power walk with purpose, you can get 14-minute miles easy with a power walk. So you can actually walk that 15-minute mile pace that the Army recommends to be their minimum, right? However, the shuffle is much faster. And when I say much faster, it's basically you're running, but you're running with a shorter stride. So you're not over striding and hitting on your heel or doing anything like that. You're actually just a little short stride shuffle. Some people call it the airborne shuffle in the Army. Just nice, easy jog, basically. But you can get your time down to that 10, 11-minute mile. And the strategy between knowing those 3 paces can help you tremendously in long rucks. So you may start off, nice and easy, but you find yourself that you got to make up some pace. So you do a shuffle and then you kind of catch your breath with a power walk and you're back on pace again and, perfect stride and you can kind of maintain that. So you can kind of fluctuate your speed to how you're feeling, energy levels and stuff like that while you're eating or drinking. Um, and then pick it back up, every so often. You can do this like every minute on the minute. You can do it every 5 minutes, whatever that you feel that can, one, keep your mind in the game, but at the same time, allow yourself to have some easier moments to get other things done if you need to. Like if you're doing navigational stuff and you can't necessarily run with that because you're taking a bearing, you might want to just walk. And then if you stop to really take a bearing, then you can start running again or shuffling again to pick up the pace and catch up where you were. So use it as a strategy, if that makes sense. Great question, though. Let's see. Any other questions? I think that's about it on the questions there. Anybody got anything else? I will do another combat swimmer stroke. Let me bring this up. So I'll show this guy. And this is actually what not to do on the CSS. And when you feel like you're starting to bicycle, right? Bending your knees and like pedaling, the swimming with fins should be more of a not necessarily completely straight, but you're going to do all the power from your hips, not bending your knees like you're doing a bunch of leg extensions. So watch what happens here. You can see how one, he kind of over rotates to breathe anyway, and then see that knee bend there? Yeah, his kicks are really small and he's just bicycling. So that is not good. Like you can't get very far with that. It is less painful on your ankles. So what typically happens is as you get tired, you may find yourself your ankles hurting, and then you start pedaling your knees just to get your ankles from hurting as much. I don't recommend doing this. It's not the way to do it. In fact, let me just show you again what it's supposed to look like, and you can see this a little nicer. I was focused a little bit more on his breathing, but you can see here with the long picture that he's just constantly flutter kicks. He got a little bit of a knee bend on the top leg, but that's okay because it's almost like he's trying to do a scissor kick. It's just kind of a smaller scissor kick, and then he turns into little flutter kicks. So it's up to you how you want to do this. Some people do constant flutter kicks like this is on this side. He tends to do constant flutter kicks, but on the other side, which is probably his strong side, he'll want to just from natural feeling of doing a scissor kick first, followed by little flutter kicks. That's at least that's me. On my strong side, I do big big scissor kick followed by little flutter kicks, but on my weak side, I just do constant flutter kicks. So notice this is all from the hips. All from the hips there. There you go. That's good. See, that's how you want to do that. As you see, that's a lot different than this one, right? A lot different than this where he is just bicycling. And at the end, I mean, it's not horribly slow, but it's really unsustainable to maintain that kind of kicking. How should the kicks be practiced with a kickboard? You can do it a couple different ways. I mean, if you're doing a side kick, I would suggest putting the board underneath your arm here, this bottom arm, just leave that bottom arm not moving. Put this top arm and just put it on top of your hips and just kick. So you can do another way too, which we call turtle backing, where you just practice. You're swimming on your back and you're constantly flutter kicking. And this way you can actually see because you're looking down a little bit. You can actually see if you're using your hips or your knees too much. So I would do both. I would practice one because it's a body position type feel. And The other one is a good one because you will do it in die phase a lot. So the other one you can kind of self correct if need be. Am I live every Tuesday? Yes. I'm thinking about adding another one. I go live every Tuesday at 9 o'clock or 9:30, somewhere in that range. Try to stay on for 45, 50 minutes or so. But I'm thinking about adding another one. I'm not sure how I'm going to add that, if it's just another Q&A CSS model or if it's something else. But I think I'd like to do another one each week. Why don't you do podcasts with Jeff Nichols anymore? We just did one last week. We just haven't done them with the frequency that you might be accustomed to. In fact, let me see. We just did podcast, and if you're on, yeah, it doesn't look like you're on YouTube, but YouTube channel, yeah, we did one 13 days ago. Tactical Fitness Report 220, getting rolled and Spec Ops training pipeline and how you should handle that, both physically and mentally. We're doing another one on shin splints, supposedly today or tomorrow. So his life's been busy. My life's been busy. He just got married this last weekend. So there's a whole lot of things. Life gets in the way sometimes. So, 13 days ago, I don't know. I mean, we might have gone a month without doing it. But you can find all our podcasts over on my YouTube channel. You see for yourself. But no, Jeff and I, solid. Just been busy. Let's see. Any other questions? I don't have any more videos that I haven't already done. So if you guys have videos to submit, you should send them. Happy to critique them for you. A lot of people send them either by email to stu@stewsmith.com, or you can DM me at my Instagram. And that's pretty much how most people do it. One of those two ways. Every now and then I'll get one through text. So, but yeah, you can do that. Let me see. How do I treading for beginners? One, I've written an article on treading and breaking it down. Usually, people who have a hard time treading. Oh man, did I just lose you guys? No, okay, I got you. It's a good article on treading. Most people who screw up treading at first are lacking mobility to get in a proper treading position. They can't kick right, they can't egg beater, they can't scissor kick right. So it's usually a mobility issue. But I'll also say that on YouTube, if you go to your YouTube channel and type in beginner tread, let me see, I'll do this for you. Beginner tread water polo. The true professionals of treading are water polo players. Let me just say that again. The true professionals of treading are water polo players. They tread water like nobody's business. In fact, I'm going to put a link to my favorite guy who teaches it really well. Go to that YouTube channel. How to egg beater. I think his thing is called Shaquatics Water Polo. But anyway, he shows how to do the egg beater for beginners. Really good way to do it. But one of the things that you also have to remember is that probably the main reason why you cannot get into that position is you lack ankle, knee, and hip mobility. So read that article I put in there because I added in some stretching for you that will help you with all three of those. There's a couple different positions that are really tough on people that aren't used to doing them. And eventually, within 2 or 3 weeks, it gets a whole lot easier. Currently doing cows and cardio strictly for getting my push ups, pull ups, sit ups better. My run and swims are awesome, long and short. Could I substitute strength for leg days instead of runs and leg calisthenics? It's up to you. Um, if you think you need some strength, then absolutely add some strength training. However, if you are trying to improve your running times and timed runs, meaning mile and a half and 4 to 5 mile distances, um, it is best not to do like also be trying to get super strong at the same time. That's why I always have like two different cycles. I have a strength cycle where we focus on strength. Now we may focus on some sprint speed during that because those two work well together. But then we also have the cows and cardio cycle where we're focusing on pacing, muscle stamina, cardio, aerobic base, anaerobic levels, um, to help you maintain and push a pace to get you to where you need to be. Um, but if you're already good at running and swimming, absolutely add some strength in there. Throw in a leg day. Or maybe instead of doing high rep calisthenics on that day, just make them harder with hills or stairs. Weight vest. Another really good workout we do that will blow up the legs is a stair stepper workout with a weight vest on, and it is brutal. See if I can find it. I have to go to a different. Let me go to a different browser here. Stair stepper. Yes. Check out this one. This is a very fun article. Now, it is on military.com. So you may not be able to get it unless you sign up to be able to view that. I'm not sure how that works. It may be different now. But anyway, it's a really good article on stair stepping with a weight vest. So hard. Do the recon still do the level test? Last I heard, it just may be a little different. I think they've added some options to it. But the level test, yeah, is basically the pre-recon fitness test. And pretty challenging. Good. I tell you what, swimming 500 meters with camis on, completely different model and method of swimming without clothes on. It is so hard. And any glide that you had from swimming with a bathing suit on is gone. So it's now just a bunch of you kicking and pulling and breathing to get across a pool in 500 meters. And it's usually a lot slower too. 12 minutes or usually 10 if you're fast. But yeah, it's pretty tough. That usually gets a lot of people. That and treading with clothes on and diving down, picking up a brick and swimming with it. Yeah, it's pretty legit. Of course, you got to do the Army or the Marine Corps PFT, the Marine Corps CFT, Marine Corps O course a couple of times. It's a legit day when you try out for recon. Thinking about purchasing the Army SF for the Jaegers. Nice. A lot of land nav Rucking PT. Yes, there's a lot of land nav Rucking and PT in that program. Definitely. I've had a few guys from the Jaegers use that program with success. So it is it will definitely help you. How competitive was it to get sent to buds as an officer. I've heard a lot more spots go to Naval Academy graduates than OCS. Yes, that is true. Typically, out of all the officers that go to buds every year, half of them come from the Naval Academy. The other half come from a combination of ROTC and OCS. Every now and then you get a few fleet transfers as well. So let's say they send 70 in a year, 35 of them's coming from the academy. And then the other 35 are coming from a majority of ROTC. And then probably 10, sometimes less than 10 OCS candidates. So, it sounds like the academy is the place to go to get it, but it's really not, because there are over 100 people trying out for those 35 slots, and they're solid. And they'll send 70 over to SOAS, and only half of them will get to go back to buds. So, yeah, it's a good SEAL prep program there for sure. Um, and the other units, other ROTC and OCS guys, just unfortunately don't have that um, access to such multi-year training. I mean, I have guys under logs and boats, 3 years before they even go to buds, working with them. And the mental toughness program you provide, does it come with a program full of challenges? No, it's just part of the PT days. Mental toughness comes from mainly you. Oh, you're talking about the mental toughness workout. Yeah, phase 4 of Navy SEAL training is the key to mental toughness. Yeah, there's a whole lot of things in there that make workouts a little harder. Like, you're going to do them wet and sandy. You're going to do 3 workouts a day. You're going to not feel like training, and you have to get up and train anyway. And first thing you do is get wet and sandy. So, yeah, there's some things in there that are pretty challenging. That's a good one. It's one of my hardest workouts I've ever created. And if you're wondering what that is the phase 4 mental toughness. And I even put in a kind of like a Hell Week simulator in there, and it's pretty good. I'll put a link to this in there for you. But basically, sometimes when we have like multiple guys from our training group that are going through Hell Week together, our group will do one as well. And um they'll do we'll wake up in the morning, do our normal 2-hour workout, and then we'll go eat breakfast, and then we'll go for like a run or for an extra swim or something, just to like just get that morning breakfast, and you still got to go do something, and then we'll come back in the afternoon and hit a third workout. um and then after the end of 5 days, you're pretty tired from doing that. So anyway, it's there's some definitely some challenges in there that are different compared to other things. But really, to truthfully answer your mental toughness question, it's not really in the program. It's in you training even when you don't want to, because you're tired, you're comfortable, you don't feel like getting wet. There's so many different reasons why before you start training that can go running through your head, and you do it anyway. That's where you become just another notch higher on mental toughness, right? And you do that every day. Next thing you know, you've created this habit, and you don't have those, obtrusive thoughts that, prevent you from succeeding. Good question. I wish you well. We actually met some of you guys, some of your future guys anyway, your Jaegers from, I think, Norway and from Denmark. Any foods you recommend before lifting weights? Any specific timing of that meal before working out? Um, you know, I don't. My recommendation is eat what you like to eat. Um, prior, I tend to not eat a whole lot prior to lifting weights or running for that matter. Because mainly because I do it first thing in the morning and I'm not really that hungry, but I'll always bring something with me because I will eventually be low blood sugar, especially when lifting weights or doing some high rep calisthenics or mixing in sprints. You're burning some glycogen out and you're going to need some sugar somewhere during your workout. So I'll bring a banana. I'll bring some other snacks. Um, if it's hot and humid, I always have some chicken noodle soup sitting in my car, so I can go grab it right out of my bag, just take it right out of the can. Because if you're sweating profusely and you're low blood sugar and you're dehydrated, and next thing you know, you're sweating so much you lost all your electrolytes, starting to cramp up, you need that can of chicken noodle soup. Because I treat dehydration the same way I treat the flu. And what makes you feel good after you've been crapping and throwing up all day because of a stomach flu? Getting some electrolytes in you, because you just got rid of all your electrolytes. So now you feel like crap. Get a little water in you, get a little electrolytes, you're going to feel a whole lot better real quick. So there's a lot to that, I know, but primarily you need to be in a state where you don't have low blood sugar and starting to bonk, start getting lightheaded and feel like you're going to throw up. And you also need to be hydrated as well as electrolytes if you are sweating profusely, or it's arid and you're sweating and it evaporates and you got salt stains on you. Those are things you need to look out for when you are training. Let's see here. 35 spots a year. That's rough. Getting to buds as enlisted is very easy by comparison. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, it's 10 times easier, literally. Um, because the SEAL community is only 1/10 officer, if that, maybe a little more, 12% maybe. So, they need 10 more enlisted for every one officer. So, yeah, it's competitive no matter what program you're going to, for sure. In fact, a lot of people, in fact, we have one guy that is what they call dual enlistment, where he's done all the paperwork for the officer route, done all the paperwork for the enlisted route. And if he gets selected to go to SOAS and then, through SOAS and go to OCS, he'll stay the officer route, but he'll find out probably in a few months whether or not he got selected or not. And then he can just pull the trigger and go right into the enlisted recruiter's office, and he's ready to be shipped out because he's crushed the PST, he's done all the enlistment paperwork, ready to go, and he'll enlist. So that's another option for guys. And then, you have a college degree already, you enlist, make it through buds, 4 or 5 years later, if you so choose, you can go into the officer route again and put in for an OCS package. Cool thing about that is you don't have to go through buds again. You just, go to OCS as a SEAL, become an officer when you come out, and you're a SEAL officer when you come out. You have to go through some officer training programs before you get back to your team, but that's it. So there are many options. Well, thank you, Mikhail. I appreciate the comment there. Any last questions? I do need to start heading out. I got stuff to do today. Um, Beautiful weather out here, May in Annapolis area, Maryland. A little chillier than normal, but it's nice. It's not hot yet. All right. So All right, so we'll take this last one from Thomas Jefferson. um, Another fitness question: do you always stretch immediately after exercising? I tend to. Sometimes I may not be that great at it. Um, if so, for example, on leg days, would you alternate legs several times? Hold for 20 or 30 seconds each leg. Yeah, that's usually how I do it. Especially on leg day. Upper body days, I don't get that sore. Like it's the bigger muscle groups of the legs. You can get sore pretty easily. So I like to definitely on leg day stretch a little more legs, but I stretch joints as well as muscles. So deep hip movements, knee bends, ankles, calves, um, all of those. Um, yeah, glad to do that. But yeah, I typically will stretch, 10, maybe 15 minutes. Usually that's mixed with a little bit of a cool down opportunity. So easy bike, easy stretch, you know, walk, jog a little bit, stretch it out, things like that. All right. So, yes, it is an officer backup plan. Nope. It is a backup plan. If you don't, in fact, if it is OCS, you can't do that from the academy. If you don't get selected from the academy or ROTC, you got to do something else. You owe the Navy 5 years of active service somewhere. If you don't get selected to Buds, you're not going to Buds within the first few years of that. You might be able to come back after a couple of years, but you'll have to go do something else in the fleet. Um, but as an OCS guy, it doesn't matter because the Navy has not paid for your education. So you don't owe the Navy anything. In fact, you don't even have to join. They may try to get you to do something else and then come back, because they've gone through all the paperwork. They don't want to lose you. Um, recruiter doesn't. So, but if you don't want to join the Navy after not getting selected for through SOAS to go to Buds, you don't have to go. If OCS, ROTC, USNA, absolutely, you got to do something else. All right, folks. I think that's it. I got something to do at 10:30, so I will go do that. If you guys have any questions for me, send them. Stu at Stu Smith. Also, if you go to StuSmithFitness.com, you guys can use the coupon code COMPETE20 and save yourself 20% on anything you purchase out there. I do appreciate it. I hope you guys have a good rest of the week and look for maybe a Friday session of this. I'm going to test it out either this week or next week and may play around with a later time, but you'll see it pop up if you're a member or subscriber, and I'll go live and do this again. All right, folks. Until then, I'll chat with you later.